What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're a little over 3 weeks into 3.25 Settlers of Calgary, and I've been having an absolute blast playing pretty much non-stop. I finally had my Mageblood. I got it a little under 3 weeks into the league, and I thought I'd make this video giving a little bit of advice on how to generate some currency if you're a little bit newer of a player and you want to make some extra. Just to preface, I am a bit of a new player myself. I have only been playing for 3 leagues. This was my second league start. I started halfway through Affliction. So this is all just based on the experience I've gained throughout that time. So, I went with a pink Mageblood this league. I feel like it's always worth buying a foil one. You can usually wait, if you look throughout the day one day, a bunch of foil ones will pop up that are the same price as the other Magebloods. So I mean, it doesn't do anything, but it is nice having a sparkly, cool, shiny Mageblood rather than a boring old normal one, right? So I went with pink. That's what I wanted. We got that, and we hit 100, so I finally can stop worrying about dying. I'm currently farming up currency, and I'll be swapping to a Hex Blast Trickster. I'm thinking I'm going with now. I want to explore Sanctum a bit, and I want to explore kind of making a build that is a bit more of a bosser and can do a lot of single target damage. But for now, let's talk about how I got my Mageblood and made over 350 divines this league in the first 3 weeks. So, first things first, luck. Luck plays a huge part into the league. A lot of people, maybe some people will say this or maybe some people won't, but luck is such a major factor. There are very proven and consistent methods to generate tons and tons of currency, i.e. Sanctum, but you can also get really lucky, and that'll make your leagues start that much better. I did drop 2 Apothecary cards, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but having luck like that where you can make an extra 100 divine, can get you that Mageblood or whatever your target item is that much quicker. While there are consistent strategies, getting lucky is always really nice and can help a lot. The next thing, have fun. This league, a big thing that I've been doing is just purely trying to have as much fun as I possibly can. Only picking strategies that I enjoy. Last league, I did do a lot of strong boxes, so I was a little over that, having to walk up, stand in one place, click it, kill, click another, stand in one place. So I wanted to switch that up. So I have been doing a combination of Breach, Harvest, Harbinger, and Gravicious farming actually most recently. So just have fun. The more fun you have with a farm, the more you're going to want to do it, and then the richer you're going to get. So that would be my number one advice, is pick something that you really enjoy. So going into my strategies, I did Breach, Harvest, Harbinger, and Gravicious farming. And Breach was really fun. It was great XP, and honestly, if you luck out and you get a couple Chayulas each map, you can generate a good amount of chaos per map, and they go pretty quick. The worst part is having to go back at the end and pick up all the little fragments off the ground, all the different Breach fragments. I got over that a little, and that made me switch to Harvest and Harbinger, but I was running that for at least a few hundred maps, and definitely made several divines off of it. I ran a bunch of the Breach Stones myself just to get XP. Harvest is really good, just a tried and true method. Do crop rotation if you can. Early on, you're trying to make as much currency as you can. I would really try and hold out and hold on to some yellow juice for maybe like a week or 2 at the start of league, because it's really gonna, we were seeing juice go for like 10, 11, 12k juice for one divine, whereas now it's already at, I think the most recent one I saw, it was under 7k now. So it really does drop fast just because of the pure amount of people that gamba using the juice. So I would always go yellow and hold on to a bit of juice as I can. I knew I was going to be going for Mageblood, so I kept the juice. I sold it 2.5 weeks in for, I could have sold it week 1. I had a bunch. I had like 25k harvest or yellow juice. Could have sold that week 1. That would have been 2.5 divines, whereas I sold it later on and it was 4 or 5. So just little things like that. If you can invest, kind of hold out on your things, if you know from other leagues that you've done, that's a great way to do it, is hold on to the currency a little bit as you're working towards that goal. Once I got closer to Mageblood, hit the 200 divine mark, I cashed in my yellow juice. Harbinger, just a really great farm, especially this league. Amazing gold, because all the different mobs that the Harbinger is spawning are dropping gold for you. You use all the Harbinger scarabs and Harbinger on the map device, and you're just generating a ton of gold. Honestly, the fracturing shards were pretty consistent. I would say I was getting some like every 2 to 3 maps. You're dropping like 4 to sometimes 12 fracturing shards, so it's really good. The scarabs are a little pricey, I guess, if you're a newer or lower budget player. Most of the scarabs are around 16C to 20C each, so you know, you're spending about 80 to 100C, which, you know, isn't a lot for a higher budget player, but for someone new that can be a little bit much. But you do make a lot back with the shards and the ancient orbs and all the other stuff. So the one thing I don't like about it is that because you're picking up shards, it doesn't show on my pilfering ring that I picked up all these chaos orbs because it was shards. So Gravicious farming, that's what I've been doing lately. It's been just a ton of fun. Basically just like gambling. You're trying to get your tree with Gravicious and one other person set up in transportation, and you're having all rivalries between those two and the people on the card. I'll quickly just go over and show.
The picture is at Salah.
So this is not very good setup, but as you can see, I've got Gravicious. He's here. He will go back to transportation when I let him out. I was doing Chimeria and Gravicious, try and get a Headhunter, but with Headhunter dropping in price and with it being just incredibly rare, I've switched to Riker, who is you pick one currency out of his device, so hoping maybe I get lucky and get a divine or something. I've also thought about doing, who is it? I think it might be Rin or Elrion. One of them is Catalyst, so I figure that could be good. But yeah, you farm Gravicious, he drops a stack of divination cards, and I would easily say this was 70 to 80 divine towards my Mageblood. I dropped Sephiroth within like the first 3 houses that I did of him. I dropped the Fracturing Orb cards twice. I dropped a level 6 Awakened Gem cards, which I, turned in, and it gave me the Awakened Void Manipulation support at level 6, 20 quality. So sold that for 16 divines. Honestly, my first 30 houses were just crazy with how good the drops were, and now I am seeing a little bit of the decline because it has been about, I want to say it's been 40 houses since I've seen a ting, but I'm determined. I'm going to keep going until I get that next ting, and then I might switch up the strat a little bit. But it's a really fun, if you're someone who likes to gamba, I'd highly recommend. Next was the boats. The boats got me just a ton of currency. I want to say the boats probably got me 20 to 30 divine, just sending them out consistently each day, and that was actually stopped with the nerf, which was a supposed buff to boats. It seems like it was a buff to the 5 mil plus shipments and a nerf to low end shipments, because my strat that I was using very consistently to make 4 to 5 divine a day from my boats, I hadn't seen a divine for days doing it anymore. So I've actually found something I've been seeing a couple divine. I've been doing 420 of each crop, and then you take, I think it's 37,800 is the value of having 420 of each crop, and you put that in dust. So you always match the value of your crops with the dust, and I've been sending that out, and I have been getting a few divines. I actually had a shipment where I got 2 divines out of 3 ships, so that was a nice surprise. So I'd recommend the boats. I'd also recommend the map runners a lot. It might be, I switched up for a few days and I stopped doing boats completely when the buff came, and I switched to map runners, and I did make some divine from the map runners. So they are good if you are able to have, you know, level 10 map runners running T16s. They are just incredibly expensive. That's why I wasn't doing it at the start of the league. And the boats were so good because they were way cheaper and they were printing divines for me. But yeah, the boats are starting to hit again, but it's hit or miss with the boats right now. Next is dump tabs. Dump tabs are really big. If I would buy a quad stash tab, if you can, next time tabs are on sale. If you got a little bit of extra money burning a hole in your pocket, buy a quad stash tab or two. Next league, at the start of league, if you pick anything up and you think it's even moderately good, make a 20C dump tab. You know, just everything in it's 20C. Just start hucking everything in there. You would not believe the amount of stuff that people will pay 20C for. Every single, when I was doing Betrayal at the start to unlock some crafts and stuff like that, and to farm Gravicius, I was just throwing all the, like, once I got all the veiled stuff I needed, I was throwing a bunch of veiled stuff in there. People were paying me 20C for veiled items just because, you know, it says Varici's veiled or, you know, whatever it is. And then as you go, you can actually just bump that up, and especially with armor and items from the boats, toss a bunch of that in there. You never know what'll sell. Plus, like, you don't really need to go through it. It's a quad, you have so much room in a quad stash tab, you're probably not going to need to go through it. And if you do, then, you know, it's easy to just take it in and delete it all, or you can disenchant it. You know, that's the nice thing about this league. You actually need rares to disenchant early on until you max out your disenchanter. So yeah, dump tabs. That's something I didn't do my first two leagues in Affliction and Necropolis. I had, you know, a little bit of a dump tab, but having the quad one, I had two quads actually, and I had a divine dump, and that made me a bunch. Next, I would highly recommend leveling Offhand Gems. If you're a new player and you haven't thought about doing this, this is absolutely huge. So you can level 9 gems in your offhand. So it does help if they're green, but I was leveling up Precisions, Haste is a good one. I was leveling up Lightning Strikes so that I could make some Bow Lightning Strikes that I sold for a few divines. Mark on Hit, Sniper's Mark, like really anything you're using. I'm leveling up a few Determinations right now. People pay, you know, extra. What is someone paying right now for one of these? Okay, it's not much, but it's honest work, right? You could buy 6 of these gems, right? Have 2 daggers, level them up, and if you get a couple 21s when you corrupt them, boom, a little bit of profit, right? It's extra 100C. If you get 2 out of 6, or even if you get 1 out of 6, it's extra 50C. So all these little things you can do to just kind of add and stack on the ways you're making currency, it's really going to help you build towards whatever your ultimate goal is. Next thing I did was invest in a mirror shard. So I went through the last few leagues, and mirror shards always go up. It was something I actually saw from the Subtractum video, where he basically said a group play was dead, and he showed the profit he had made from doing group play for a long time, and it was, you know, it was not what you'd expect. It was 1 mirror shard and like 5 divine or something. So he was kind of sad in that video, but he did say something that allowed me to learn something. So shout out Subtractum. Is that you invest in mirror shards, and he said, I'm going to keep this a mirror shard because it will go up. And I thought, you know, that's interesting. So I went back, looked at all the other leagues, and in every league, mirror shards do go up just till the end of the league. Pretty much no matter what time you buy one. There's a little bit of dip maybe at the end of a league in some leagues, but usually for the most part, between now and especially between now and halfway into the league, it's just going to be going up. So I didn't want to invest too much this league because, you know, I'm still a new player and I'm still getting used to having a lot of currency. Magebloods in the last few leagues, I only had to save up 100 divines for, whereas this league I had to save up 295 divines for. So I didn't want to invest too much as a test, but next league I probably will. If you know it's going to take you a couple weeks to save up for your Mageblood, which, you know, is no worries, then I would recommend investing into a few mirror shards. I only did one this league, but I wish I had done more, because I bought one for 26 and I sold it for 30. So the more I would have done, you know, it's not much, but like I said, all those little extra profits you can make, that's what gets you to your final goal. Up next is Scrying. Scrying was such a phenomenal change that they made to the league and to the Seer. I really love the change. I immediately started doing defiled cathedrals, and within 10 of them got a Seer and scryed defiled cathedral cards onto dunes. And within this is where it goes back to the luck part that I was talking about. You just got to get lucky. It's always easier said than done, but I got a apothecary card within maybe 50 maps after scrying. It felt very fast. And then I actually dropped another apothecary card later on, maybe a couple hundred maps later. So I've gotten very lucky, and it's thanks to scrying. Being able to put the cards from the maps you don't want to play onto the maps you do is just such a nice change, and really kudos to GGG for thinking of something like that, because it just makes the game so much more enjoyable to play when you can, on top of the farms you're already doing, have these chances at these just incredibly tier 0 items and div cards and stuff like that. Lastly, you're richer than you think. If you're a Canadian, you probably know that slogan from one of our banks up here, but it really is true. You are richer than you think. Please, please, please go to Wealthy Exile. I'll pull it up here, and you can see this is when I bought Mageblood. It went down and went back up because I added Mageblood back. But you can see it's a very good tool. The timeline doesn't really matter because it's just based off when you sync it. But what is huge for it is the breakdown of everything you have. I would start, go from top to bottom, and if you have something you want to buy, start selling stuff, start liquidating, farm up for a bunch. I sold power runes. I sold power runes for 5 divine each because I wanted to buy my Mageblood, and I looked at what was craftable, and I wasn't really close to it. I wasn't close to the LE damage, the 100% extra LE for the sword, so I said, screw it, I'm going to sell my power runes, get my Mageblood. Time runes, I sold a few of those, but not all of them. I kept a good bunch of those. And you can just see, there's a lot of things that you have that will make you some money. So start going through the list from most expensive to least, and pretty much, anything over a divine, you could sell, right? Even these fragments, it's 100 breach scarabs, that's a lot, but if you go and put them up in the currency exchange, they'll sell eventually, and that's the great part, is that you don't gotta do anything, it just sells while you're playing. So the currency exchange has been huge, the fracturing shards are great. Yeah, use this tool. It really allows you, it's something I didn't do the previous couple leagues, and I'm sure I had tons of stuff sitting in my stash that, could have made me some money. You never know what scarab you have sitting in your stash that happens to get mentioned in some strat by some YouTuber, and then it, quadruples in price, and all of a sudden you got a couple divines sitting in your stash. So go in there, check this, and hopefully make some extra currency. Alright, that's been the video. Hope this helps you guys make a little bit of extra currency towards whatever your goal is, whether that be Mageblood or Nimmies or something else. Hope you guys are having fun with the league. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.